Good morning, this is Tricia. We are here with day 18 of the 31 Days to Transformation. And right off the bat, I want to tell you this. Don't believe everything I say. And the reason I say this is because I learned this from T. Harv Eker. The reason I tell you this is that what I'm sharing is based on my experiences. They're not your experiences. You have to take these words and you have to decide whether it fits you. You know, does it fit where you are right now? If it does, then put it on and let it become part of your experience and then share it with others. But don't believe everything I say. You have to find your own truth, your own reasons, your own space. Okay, so let's get on here with day number 18. It's a continuing on the mini-series that I'm doing on the 6 Ghosts of Fear that Napoleon Hill writes in Think and Grow Rich. And this fear is the one that causes the most pain. He writes that it wreaks the most havoc on the mind and body than any of the other fears. And this fear can so permeate your mind that it will destroy relationships. Relationships that could have been lifetime relationships. It is the fear of the loss of the love of someone. And it applies to spouses, it applies to friends, it even applies to people that you work with. It's universal. How does it manifest? What is going on in the mind of someone who has this fear, the fear of losing the love of someone? Well, first of all, there's jealousy, that green-eyed monster. Now, I have green eyes. And so I don't know how I feel about being called the green-eyed monster, but jealousy has always been referred to that. And jealousy is always being suspicious, distrustful, expecting that someone is doing something behind your back or, to hurt you or as in a relationship with a spouse, it's, they're going to leave you. They're doing something. They found someone else. That kind of jealousy builds and builds and builds. And there's also fault-finding. The act of always looking for something to nag about, always, without cause, finding fault with everything that they do. And I have to address this, especially to women, because I've been caught up in that. And a little bit later I'm going to share how it affected my marriage. But women are prone to do that. We get together and we feel like we can let our hair down and share things. And a lot of times the things that we share are not conducive to building a strong relationship with our husband. We love to complain about our husbands. I used to do that. Okay, later I'll share more about that. But fault finding, nagging, and just always, always picking apart the person who you're with, who you work with, friends, family. And then there's gambling, and gambling in the sense of trying to buy someone's love. Going into debt, way overspending in the hopes that giving gifts will win you favor. Huge mistake. Money doesn't buy love. If you have this fear of losing the love of someone, you may be dealing with insomnia and nervousness. You have a low self-esteem or no self-confidence. Those kind of things are going on inside of you. And this fear of losing the love of someone is so prevalent when it's not built on a relationship of unconditional love and acceptance. Without believing in someone's value, without the commitment to see it through, and especially when you don't have a strong self-image, when you don't have that, it's easy to fall prey to this fear. And I have to admit, I've been there. I've done that. I don't share this often, but I was married for 32 years. And in that time, as I'm looking back, I realized that I had fallen prey to the fault-finding. And especially when I went out with girlfriends or got with my sisters or even ran to my mom when I was upset about something, it was always the complaining and the fault-finding of my spouse. And it led to the deterioration of our marriage of 32 years. I'm not happy to share that with you. It was a sad thing. And yet, on the other hand, I believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And every event, every experience that we have is brought to us to help us to grow, to learn, to become even more of a better person. And in that regard, I have done that. And I have spent the last few years in personal development and learning who I am, discovering who I am, creating a new me that no longer has that jealousy, no longer does that fault-finding stuff. And I'm happy to report that I'm happily married now to Bruce. And he is someone who came along and loved me for who I was and allowed me to transform my life and allowed me to grow and become the person that I desire to be. And that's how it should be, without jealousy, without fault-finding, and without trying to buy someone's love. You know, this is going to maybe be a tough assignment for you, because maybe you recognize that you have joined in, you know, in your little girlfriend's outings, a night out with the girls, and you start on, you know, well, my husband did this, or he never does this, or whatever, or even if it's your boyfriend. Your assignment is to recognize that if it's going on, if you're always finding fault, recognize it and then choose to stop it, because you're the only one that can. That person's not going to change, and the only way that you can change is to see that person through the eyes of love, and to stop with the fault finding, and stop with the suspicions, and stop with maybe trying to buy their love. It's your choice. And again, I'm going to remind you that what you think about comes about. And as in my case, all of the thoughts, all of the words, everything I did become a reality, and a relationship was destroyed. I hope that helps you. It's a tough subject to talk about, but it's pretty widespread. You know, the more you talk to people and the more you listen to women, you will, especially women, but, you know, not totally exclusive from women, but it's widespread. And if that's happening, then choose to change. All right, I will see you again tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.